This happened around 2015 when I was 25 years old. I was alone at my upstairs apartment with my normally very calm, quiet, and older cattle dog. I was sitting on the couch against the wall with the front door to my immediate left, on the same wall that the couch was up against, so I could look to my left and the doorknob was arm's length and in clear view. I was scrolling on my phone through creepypastas and urban legends trying to find a good story that would really give me the chills. My dog was sleeping soundly at my feet. For the life of me, I cannot re-find the story that I came across when a chill ran down my spine. I hear something and look over to see the doorknob rattling hard. I jumped up so fast, startled, but thinking it was an earthquake and looked around to notice nothing else was shaking. Still trying to process what was happening, I see my dog standing in front of the door, hair on his back standing straight up, tail poofed out, teeth bared, growling at the door. I had never seen him act like that before, but his face looked confused. The doorknob continued to rattle loudly, not like someone was turning it from the outside, but they were shaking it fast and hard. I could physically see it shaking from a few feet away. It seemed to last minutes, but I'm sure the whole thing happened within 30 seconds. I, being freaked out, quickly and without thinking closed out the story on my phone and the rattling stopped. My dog and I looked at each other and exchanged confused glances. I stood there for a minute with my dog at my side and told myself I was overreacting and just jumpy because I had been reading all those scary stories. I took a deep breath and said, "Hello?" No answer. I felt silly. Maybe my now ex was home early and just trying to get inside in a hurry or something. I reached for the doorknob, unlocked it, and opened the door. As the door opened, I took a step outside and leaned halfway out. Looking around, nothing. The stairs down to the stairs were empty, as well as the wall to my left and to my right, with no one in sight. To this day, I don't know what caused the rattling. That day, I opted out of my scary story search and instead curled up on the couch with my dog and binge-watched episodes of Friends for the rest of the evening. Never had any more experiences in that apartment after that. You're probably wondering what the story was I came across before the rattling started. I didn't get the chance to start reading it, but I remember it being something about a Japanese war nurse. I'm not even sure if it's actually related or if it was just a coincidence, but I'd love to hear your opinions either way. I tried looking for it again, but have had no luck. If anyone thinks they may know what it was and why this happened, I'm open to solving this case once and for all. Okay, I need some feedback after you read this story. I sent this story into a content creator on YouTube to hopefully get feedback, and it never got put on the channel. It's not a big deal, but I'm seriously itching to know what the world thinks about it. And I deleted TikTok, so I'm now here on Reddit. Let me know what you think, please. For context, I'm an 18-year-old female, and I live in a small town near Houston, Texas. It's about 40 to 50 miles away from the city. I live in a nice, safe, middle-class, small neighborhood with a bunch of old, retired people in it. The neighborhood is really small, only with about 7 streets. I'm in college living with my parents and my older sister. Our neighborhood has a nice hotel in it, and there are cops patrolling the neighborhood because of this. So, anyway, this happened to me about 2 months ago. My parents left me and my sister home alone for a week to go on a road trip during spring break. It was my first time ever being alone in the house with no adult for so long. No big deal. I wasn't a high schooler anymore. I would keep myself alive and the house clean and free of parties and just continue going to work and school like normal. It was the second night of my parents' departure, and they were in New Mexico at this point. My sister has a boyfriend, so she spent a lot of time over at his house. I have a boyfriend as well, but he works all the time, so I found myself at home alone and bored at 5 p.m. I decided to go to the gym, which the hotel in my neighborhood has, so I got all my stuff and headed out the door. My mom has this weird fear of someone trying to open all our windows and doors while we're asleep and kill us, so she's a heckler about locking things. I only lock the door if I'm leaving the house unoccupied for a long period of time though. When I was leaving, I got the strange feeling to lock the front and the back door. I was going to ignore it, but it kept bugging at me, so I went back inside and locked the front and the back door. I also wanted to run to the gym, but at the last minute before walking out the door, I got a sudden sense of laziness and went to get my keys, which is when I got the feeling to lock the door. No big deal. I'm not good with intuition, I'm a paranoid person, so I didn't think much of it. I go to the gym for about an hour and a half, and while I'm there, I get this random, terrible, gut-wrenching feeling that gives me bad anxiety. Now, I have a dog, and again, like I said, I'm a paranoid person. So my mind instantly went to the fact that my house is on fire and my dog is trapped inside because I locked both the doors and no one is going to be able to save him. Stupid, I know. In fact, so stupid I didn't think it was actually possible, and I stayed and continued my workout at the gym with a lingering feeling of anxiety. I get done, and I head home, and of course, when I get home in like 2 minutes, my house is still intact. I get out and start heading inside, but I notice something on my front door handle. My door handle is curved into a long C that attaches to the wood with a latch on top of the C that you have to press down with your thumb to open the door. Wrapped tightly around my door handle was a brown napkin. That wasn't there when I locked the door before I left the gym. I stopped instantly and thought of the recent fentanyl poisonings, how people were putting liquid fentanyl on napkins and money, killing the people who came in contact with them with an overdose. I called my parents, who answered, and explained what happened. My mom was a bit spooked and told me not to touch it, while my dad was trying to be rational, telling me it was probably just an advertisement that someone put on the door. That's clearly not what it was, but I got some gloves out of my car and used them to take the brown napkin off. It was clear it wasn't an ad, even if it had maybe been ripped off, because my dad said it looked like someone ripped an ad off our door handle whenever I FaceTimed them. It had the texture of a thick paper bag, but I didn't look long enough to see exactly what it was. I threw it instantly on the ground, unlocked the door, cleaned the handles with Clorox wipes and the lock and the keys in my hands, and I washed the gloves. I left the paper bag on the ground for a while I stayed locked up in my house, not knowing what to do with it. I kept looking outside the windows because I just knew someone had come and put it on our door and was wondering if they were still out there. I never saw anything or anyone, or even got a weird feeling of being watched. My sister and her boyfriend got home, then I got some courage, put some more gloves on, and went to go pick up and examine the brown paper bag with them. I brought it inside and we all looked at it underneath the light. It was 100% clearly a small brown paper bag. It looked like something a restaurant would put sauces or silverware in for to-go orders. It was crumpled up due to how tightly it was wrapped around the door handle, so I unfolded it. I almost dropped the paper bag again because what I saw on it scared me. It was clear, thick liquid that kind of resembled snot, smeared across the part of the paper bag that was touching the door handle. My sister, her boyfriend, and I kind of stayed silent, all thinking the same thing: fentanyl. But the longer time passes, the more I think about what it really could have been. Nothing weird or strange to me has happened since then. I highly doubt we have druggies in our neighborhood that would just come up to our door on a high whim and stick trash in it. I question if it was truly fentanyl. I mentioned me living in Houston because it's one of the biggest hotspots of sex trafficking in the country. I'm curious to know if that may have had anything to do with it. Perhaps they are marking my house, or maybe it's nothing. I don't think it's nothing though, because someone intentionally came and put the brown paper bag on our door and got the heck out of there during the short time while I was at the gym. I wish I had a Ring camera so I had more answers, but I don't. Do you have any answers for me? These questions always go on in the back of my head, and I'm sure of course you don't have the full answer, but what could this mean, and why did it happen to me? So I want to get this out of the way now. I live in Michigan, in a not exactly the nicest area either. There have been multiple occasions which have been caught on video of people either trying to steal my mom's car, our two generators, which we use when our power is out because we don't have a lot of money and sometimes it goes off, or break into the house entirely. It's gone far enough for someone to break into our sunroom before our family dogs scared them off. Now, how is this relevant to the actual story of this? Well, we recently moved the camera, which does have a motion light on it, to the front fence to watch the cars. It was previously hooked up on the garage to get a view of the backyard. The reason for moving it was because we have a small driveway and can only park one car in without things being cramped. The garage itself holds 2 motorcycles, one is my brother's and the other is my stepfather's. Now, I've had encounters with these people trying to break in before. I even caught the car they were in and have caught them 3 times in the backyard. Now we get to the actual relevance of this whole post. 2 nights ago, I was taking the garbage out. It was about 10 to 10:30 p.m., and I wanted to do it before I got into my game that I was going to play, because I knew I'd forget to if I didn't. I tossed it into the bin, and there was considerable space between our 3 garbage cans, which I've since changed, and after, I tossed it in. I heard something scurrying off, but without our motion light, I couldn't exactly tell what, since it was pitch black outside. I wasn't exactly scared, since one of our bins has a hole in it. We get raccoons all the time, and I figured I just scared it off. So later in the night, around 1:30 a.m., I decided to hang out with my brother for a bit, and we went riding around the town on the motorcycles, and we got back about 15 minutes later. He pulls into the driveway, and since we, as of now, are running off a generator which can't power the garage, he tells me to pull open our garage hood manually while he backs his work truck up. So I open it as he's backing up, and the red lights make sight actually possible in the backyard. While he's backing up, I hear something scurry off to the side of the house again. I turn my phone's flashlight on this time, since I actually had it on me. My brother asked me what was wrong, and I told him, nothing, just a raccoon in the trash. I turn my light on, and right in front of me, there's this, I don't even know how to describe it. It didn't look like a dog, but it was on 4 legs, and that's all I could see before I screamed out loud and started bolting the other way. Now, it could have been a really big and fluffy dog, but this thing was massive. My brother was 200 pounds, and this thing was bigger than him. It was big enough to break the hinge on our fence. I didn't actually see it do this since I was down the street, but now the fence has a padlock. The part that makes me confused is yesterday morning I looked and there were no tracks, and the thing made no noise. I wanted to post this to see if anyone may have some help on what it was. But anyway, it's 3:49 in the morning, and remembering this has me terrified.